Welcome to the Broker Growth Accelerator, where we discuss how real estate brokers can accelerate their growth by improving their agent recruiting and retention. I'm your host, Jim Turner, and today we'll discuss growth tactics with our special guest, who is a subject matter expert in the industry. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Jim Turner, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Brokerkit, and I'll be your host today. Today on the show, we're super excited to have Nakia Brooks, an experienced vet in the real estate space down in Atlanta. So, Nakia, welcome to the Broker Growth Accelerator.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Maybe let's just start out with your background. So, how long have you been in the business, and how did you get into, real estate and building a brokerage?
Yeah, so this is my 18th year in the business. I started out in law enforcement for Metro Atlanta, and if you know any law enforcement, most law enforcement officers are always having to work extra jobs just to make ends meet. And so I started off in law enforcement working real estate part-time. I got to where I was selling more houses and making more money than I was at the sheriff's department all year long. And so I decided to take the plunge in 2010 to do it full-time. Fast forward, I guess this is 13 years now of being full-time. I have closed well over 1,200 transactions, of which about 700 of them were short sales. About 5 years ago, I took the plunge to the broker side of things, which I think is a great thing on the broker side because I've got years of experience on being in the trenches of doing this. And then I came to the broker side of things. I worked at the largest independent brokerage in the state of Georgia. They have about 4,000 agents. Really grew my wings on the broker side of things. I've been teaching for many, many years, both locally as well as the state of Georgia and nationally for NAR. And then about 9 months ago, we opened Heartland. We're currently about 90 agents. I looked at our rankings today. There's about 4,100 brokerages in the state, and we're ranked 124th out of 4,100 brokerages in the state right now. So super good. We have a lot of productivity going on. I also serve as the president of the second largest realtor board in the state this year, NAMAR, and I'm honored to serve as Georgia's Georgia Realtor of the Year for the state of Georgia. So it's been quite a busy year for me.
And so it sounds like things are going well since you hung out your own shingle with your own brokerage at Heartland. Where do you want to be at the end of 2023 and maybe next year? You're at 90-ish now. What are your goals? Where do you want to be, at the end of this year and maybe 3-5 years out?
Yeah, we originally said that we started Heartland the first day with 42 agents. And we said that by the end of 23 that we wanted to be at 100 agents, and we're well on the track to do that. We're very systematic in how we do things. So we don't just take anyone here. I know that kind of sounds bad, but we don't just take anyone. We're very systematic in how we do that. So the majority of our folks are already producing agents. And if they're not, then we have a coaching program that I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. But all of our agents are out here producing. So it helps us get to that number. So 100, when you have 100 people, the majority of those people are in a regular brokerage and not producing, but the majority of ours are.
And now that you have your own kind of shingle out and you can set your own vision, what do you believe sets your brokerage apart? And like when you're recruiting those agents, how do you explain your value proposition? I mean, and what's unique about you and why they should come to kind of your firm versus another?
Yes. For many years, I've been teaching that 3 things make a brokerage. Number one, you have to have culture within the firm, right? You can't be so big that you don't know your people. We're very blessed that we can tell you who our people are. We can tell you most of the time their families. We can tell you how many kids they got. They can tell you what's going on. So for us at Heartland, culture is first and foremost. Then technology. We talk about technology all the time. Well, what are you going to give me? The agents call me all the time and say, hey, well, what leads do you give? Or what do you do this? Well, time out. Let's look back at the technology that we're giving you. A national adoption rate of like 8% of the technology we give you. If a broker is spending $40,000 a year on a website and only 8 people are using it, well, is that really a tool that you need to give them? So we give them technology that they're going to use, but we also know that I've come back from a position of I've been there and I've done that. So there's no sense in recreating the wheel. Let's figure that out. And then the other part is commission plans. We are a transactional based company. There's several of them in the metro Atlanta area. I really feel like ours kind of sets us apart from the other ones because we do have that culture and we do have that technology function to it. So it's not just, hey, we're a transactional company. We're going to take your money. We're going to process your file and you go on down the road. So we give them that culture, technology, and commissions to be a well-rounded company.
And so you kind of touched on it briefly before, but what is that ideal agent that you prefer to hire and kind of why? What makes a good agent, for Heartland?
So we're looking at that, and I've obviously listened to some of your other podcasts, and we're very similar to some of those other people. That ideal agent is that 5 to 15 range. What we know is we will not take you here at Heartland unless you've had 5 transactions. We know that an adult learner takes 4 times to learn something. So if we can get you, and you're newer on the spectrum, 5 to 15 transactions, then we can teach you some of those things and help you grow your business. When you get those 20 plus ish agents, they've already been set in their ways. Now we take those too. We have agents and teams here that sell 100 transactions a year. And we take those folks, but when we're recruiting, we're really looking for that 5 to 15 agent because we can take them and mold them and shape them and help them grow their business. The other thing is if you haven't done 5 transactions, we're not going to be like, oh no, you can't come here. We have a coaching program that is very, very regimented. One of the leaders of that particular coaching program was in law enforcement as well. So we have taken the coaching program and made it almost like a field training program as if you were just graduating the police academy and now you're going to go through and learn the steps of doing it. It's the same thing. They've graduated real estate school. They've got a license. But in the real estate school, they learn 3 things. They learn how they're going to get sued, how they're going to get fined, and how they lose the license. In real estate school, they don't teach them how to negotiate sales, how to write contracts, how to hold open houses. So that coaching program takes them step by step to go through that process. And it gives them, hey, this week you're going to do an open house, and this is how you do an open house, and this is what we're going to do. So we leverage coaches to help with that. We leverage learning management system, LMSs, as well as they have to do this in order to get the next step in that level to get out of that coaching program. So that 5 to 15 is a really good range because we can take them. They're not so set in their ways that we can't mold them to help grow, but they're not fresh out of school that they don't know how to spell real estate yet.
Right. And so, the 5 to 15 is, one of the clear indicators that somebody's going to be a good fit for you. What else? I mean, right. So it's, real estate's obviously different because they're not like a W-2 salaried person. So you don't have to be as discriminating, but also if you hire the wrong people, there's an opportunity cost of time lost, right, on somebody that doesn't work out. And maybe dealing with kind of strife or cultural issues. I mean, you talked about culture. What else do you look for is in terms of kind of like personality, motivation, cultural fit, things like that beyond the 5 to 15?
So we set really clear expectations when they walk through the door. Part of it is that new agent orientation. We bring them in. So I'm the president of the second largest board. My partner is the incoming president for another local board here. I'm going into Georgia Realtor leadership starting next year. So a couple things that we do, we set those clear expectations. Hey, listen, you need to be current on your code of ethics. You need to be going and taking Fairhaven so that we make sure that there's no discrimination there. We're adding these things in there. And to your point, right, you're independent contractors. So we can't make you do things. But the flip side of that is we can make it to where if you don't want to be part of this culture, then we don't want you here. So one of the things that we do is we give a DA or a disbursement authorization at the end of the closing, right? Well, when you come here, you've got 6 weeks to get X, Y, and Z done. That's a clear indicator. And I got a great friend up in Minnesota, Longdone, talks about the onboarding of an agent to your company is that honeymoon phase, right? Well, we're seeing how true they are to the relationship if they're going to do the things that we ask of them. So we're very clear in that onboarding process. Have you taken Fairhaven? We really want to encourage you. I'm a national ambassador for the C2EX program for NAR, the Commitment to Excellence. So we want you doing the C2EX. We want you going and getting this extra training because if they're willing to do those few things that doesn't cost them anything to do, then we know that they are committed to the industry and they're committed to bettering themselves. And part of that other too, we use an LMS called Teachable. And part of that is, here's your new agent orientation, go through and do this. Another thing that we use within that is called HRE on demand. And so if we have an agent that calls and says, hey, how do I do this? If we haven't done a video for that, we will create a video. We will send that video to that agent, but we'll also put that video in Heartland HRE on demand so that others, if one person has that question, then the others have that question. So now the next time we get that question, hey, here's the video for that. But we've also answered that before, and you can find it on HRE on demand. So when you come in and they're willing to do some of those things that you're asking to set them up for success, then you know it's going to be a good fit.
And so now we've kind of talked about what is a good fit. How do you find them, right? And how much of it is kind of inbound, whether it leads through kind of like job postings or just referrals, or, how much of it is outbound? How do you find those people that you feel will be a good fit and start those conversations?
Yeah, so we do a couple things. In real estate, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We've heard this 1,000 times over the years. Well, it's the same thing with real estate professionals. People are going to gravitate towards people that they know, like, and trust. So one of the first things that we do is in our closing checklist for our agents, there's a note in there. Who was the co-op agent? What is their phone number? Would they be a good fit for Heartland? So that's the first step. The other thing is our culture is so amazing here at Heartland. We really haven't done a lot of outbound recruiting, right? At my previous brokerage, we had Brokerkit and we were doing some of that stuff. We're going on 9 months old and just now getting back to Brokerkit because we have onboarded all of these agents based off of referrals from our agents within the brokerage. So it's a good testament for us because we have agents who are out there speaking the volume of Heartland. The other part to that is we really genuinely have our agents love what they do, right? So we're all the time doing different contests within the brokerage. We're handing out hats, we're handing out shirts, we're handing out these things. So when you go to realtor networking events or you go to a evening network event, you're seeing all of these people with Heartland swag on, and they want to start genuinely asking questions. So a lot of our initial recruiting has come strictly from word of mouth. Now we're getting to the point where we're starting our closing checklist of, hey, should we contact these people, right? Sometimes you have that transaction that they're like, they would never be a good fit here with us because they're just a different type of agent. Doesn't mean they're not a bad agent. It just means, hey, they probably wouldn't fit the culture here. The other thing we do is we incentivize our agents here to provide us with the people. So we have an incentive program that they get $100 for every transaction up to 10 transactions a year. So if you are a good agent that likes to talk to people and you bring 10 good agents on, well, you just made yourself a ton of money. You just made yourself $10,000 by referring 10 agents who are producing agents. So it really incentivizes those agents to bring other agents that are really going to work, because if they're bringing people who aren't going to close any transactions, it doesn't benefit them to even waste their time to do that.
Okay, so you get in contact with one of these people that's a good fit. So walk me through kind of the conversation to get them interested. Do you have them in for like kind of a recruiting appointment in your office? How do you kind of position that? How do you get them interested in kind of coming in? And then we can talk about once they're there, how do you kind of manage the conversation through the appointment in your office?
Yeah, so that was one of those interesting things when I was watching some of and I follow your podcast and listen to the way others do it. I always equate to, number one, you should always have a coach, right? So you're not going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro without going with a Sherpa, right? They know the way to get to the top. They know the top. They know the equipment you need to take. They know all these things. So, you really need to follow somebody else that's going to help you get there. So watching some of these videos, it was funny that some people use slideshows, some people use word of mouth, some people just have that. So you come across my desk or you come across April's desk, we're going to be calling you, hey, Jim, this is Nakia with Heartland. Hey, do you have a minute? Make sure that it's not, we always seem to be, we're all real estate agents, so we want to make sure that we're not interrupting their time. And I usually is something to the effect of, TJ gave us your name and number. She said you were amazing. And I just want the opportunity to share the Heartland story with you and see if we're going to be a fit. And if it's anything you're interested in. We know there's almost 100,000 real estate agents in the state of Georgia. We know that if any given time, 10% are trying to make a change, we just want to be having that conversation that if the conversation is not now, 3 months from now, it may be a conversation, but now we're starting to build those relationships. So for me, it's not about what we can do for you. It comes from the coaching aspect. So number one, I just want to share the Heartland story with you. And then number two, when we get them in, I don't immediately dive into what Heartland can do for you. Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your business. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel like your business is? Well, I feel like I'm at a 7. What would get it to? What are you missing those 3 spots? What are you missing that would get you to a 10? That gets them open and talking about themselves. People like to talk about themselves much more than they like hearing about you. So I get them talking about themselves. Well, in order for me to be a 10, I really feel like I need this, this, and this. And it's always leads. It's always leads. And I 100% disagree with that. I have sold a ton of transactions and I've never once bought a lead. But 9 times out of 10, it's something to do with leads. So then I'll go into a coaching session. I use a system called 30, 30, and 3. I've been teaching it for years across the nation. And so I explain that 30, 30, and 3 to them. 30 minutes a day, you should be working on your database. 30 minutes a day, you should be working on your systems. And then 3 days a week for 1 hour, we want you working in your database or lead generating, right? Because we listen to these books. We look at these books. Oh, you should be lead generating for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Close your office door, take your snacks in there, take your water in there. Don't go to the bathroom, because if you go to the bathroom, then you're going to stop lead generating. Here's the thing. Most of them don't even know how to do it. So now let's teach you the right way. Lead sometimes is not always the best way to do it. Now, you get an agent who is doing 20, 30 transactions a year, and they're starting to feel the struggle of they've went through their sphere of influence and they're ready to go. Then, okay, now we may pad the things that you're doing with some leads, but 9 times out of 10, you don't just not need to go to a lead. It takes 14 to 16 months to cultivate an online lead anyway, because those people are needing to learn, know, like, and trust you as it is. So let's start with those people. So usually the first question is, how is your business, right? Scale of 1 to 10, how's your business? The second thing I always ask is, where are you at with your current brokerage? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Well, I'm at a 6. Okay, what would make it a 10? If we could fix the things at your current brokerage, what would make it a 10? Because sometimes it's things that can be fixed, or it's things that they could do. But the other part is, I'm trying to understand what's really important to them to see if it's something that I need to look at for us. So those are usually those first 2 questions. What, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me about your business. Where would it get to a 10? And then the second one is your brokerage, and what would make it a 10 for you there.
So I really like the 30-33. Did I get that right? 30-33?
30,
so
and 3.
Our kind of theory here at Brokerkit is that, like, there's 2 primary funnels in a brokerage: sales funnel, which you just kind of talked about, which is really agents selling homes, but also the talent funnel, which is you as the brokerage building your brokerage with a team of talented agents who can go sell the homes. Right. So what is the broker equivalent of that? So, because, right, if agents need to be doing that on their leads, as a broker, you need to be doing the same thing on the recruiting side, really, on the talent funnel. So what is the broker equivalent of that formula?
Well, it's this right here. You get these business cards, and it's like, I tell people all the time, like, I get business cards. I'm traveling, I'm doing a class. The first thing that happens is these business cards get put in my phone, and then they get stuck in the front seat of the airplane seat because I'm throwing them in my phone. So if you were to look at my phone, and I'm going to see if I can get it, because everybody kind of laughs at this for me, is if you look at my phone, I really and truly practice what I preach. If you look at my phone, I've got 9,949 contacts in my phone, right? Because I'm constantly adding to my database. All right. So that's the 30 minutes a day. And that's a whole long process. First, we got to have a name, email address, phone number, and do they own or rent? Or for me, what brokerage are they from the recruiting side? The second thing is systems, right? 30 minutes a day, we need to be working our systems. This morning, for example, I was in Brokerkit. I'm creating a campaign so that when I take somebody from the recruiting side into the retention side of Brokerkit, I'm starting a campaign that is an onboarding checklist, and it's all tasks within the brokerage. So, hey, did we add them to the real estate commission? Did we add them to the MLSs? Did we add them to we have a Google calendar for the brokerage that we put a birthday on every single day, that's connected to Talkify, that's connected to our brokerage calendar, did we add the birthday into the calendar so that it goes on the website? So we have all of these steps that are required for the onboarding process. And I've now started working through to add those as tasks so we don't miss a step, right? So I always tell people those systems are about seats on the bus. Sometimes we got to make sure that we have every seat we need on the bus. Sometimes it's not going to be me in that particular seat. It may be one of the staff members. It may be my partner. It may be, we utilize some of our agents to do some office work around here. So now it may be a different seat on the bus, but now we're systemizing how we do things. You need to have a system for onboarding and a system for offboarding. Brokers get so butthurt about, oh, they're leaving my company and it's the worst decision there. No, like we need to treat them just as good, if not better, as they're leaving than we did when they came to your brokerage, because you never know. They could get over to the other brokerage and say, this sucks, I want to go back. And if you've just bit off your face now they're not going to want to come back to you. So we have that mindset of we're going to be just as nice to you, if not better, when you're leaving. I had an agent leave today. We sent her a message. It was a video. Hey, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as your broker during this time at Heartland. If we can do anything for you, let us know. The door's always open here for you. But most importantly, thank you for allowing us to serve you during the time that you were here. Because at the end of the day, your reputation is made or broken in one transaction on the sales side. On the talent funnel, your reputation is made or broken on the things that not what you said, not what you did, but how you treated that person. And so I think that's really important. And then the 3 days a week for 1 hour. One of the things that we're starting to do is utilizing, and I love the function. It was BombBomb. Now it's the function within Brokerkit that allows us to create videos and send them out via text messages. Hey, listen, Jim, thank you so much. I noticed that you co-opted with TJ. I hope it was an amazing transaction. Hey, listen, we know that industry-wide, 10% of the people are always looking for another brokerage. If you're part of that 10% and would be interested in hearing the Heartland story, I'd love that opportunity. But most and foremost, thank you for an amazing co-op transaction, and congratulations on your closing on 123 Smith Street. Now, what you're doing is you're personalizing that message. You can't record one message and say, throw it out every single time, because agents know when it's a recording. We're doing that every single day with other people. So they know if it's if it's a custom message, or they know if it's just a generic boilerplate message. And when you customize it, it personalizes it, and it gives you that ability to have that one foot in the door. So that's kind of my thought process on that.
Yeah, and I really love the, kind of the theme around, especially on the recruiting. And this applies really to the sales and talent funnel, the focus on onboarding and coaching and helping be successful. So I had a coach that said, people that focus on sales as the number, as their goal, they're missing out. You need to focus on how many people you helped, right? Yeah. And that applies in both funnels. Sales funnel, how many, not just how many sales I made this year, how many people that I help be successful with a sale, get them in a home that they're happy with, and your agents, right? Not just how many people did I recruit, how many people did I help become successful? Because then that's when the revenue will come, right? The income will come, but it'll also build word of mouth, right? And if you're focusing on the actual numbers, you're focusing on the wrong place, right?
Yeah, and I tell every single class I teach, I tell people, we're not in the business of selling houses. And everybody looks at me like, oh my gosh, like I've come to the wrong class. I said, guys, listen, you need to be very, very clear. If you're in the business of building relationships, conversations create opportunities. Opportunities turn into transactions. So you need to be in the business of building relationships. If you build a relationship properly and you're doing the things within that relationship properly, they know that you're a real estate agent. They know that you're who you do and what you are. So if you're building that relationship, when they need you, they're going to call. Now, you're going to remain top of mind by using your CRMs, by using drip campaigns, by doing this. But if you build that relationships, like one of the things I tell people all the time. So I use this analogy. You go to lunch every single day. It's the most important meal of the day, right? Well, if I go to lunch 5 days a week and I take a partner or a lender or a closing attorney on Mondays and Fridays and let them buy lunch, then I'm learning from them, and I'm learning for something, a pool guy, whatever. Mondays and Fridays go with somebody different. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if you take somebody different to lunch every single day, that's 156 lunches a year. Take them to Chick-fil-A, right? You're going to spend $20 to go to Chick-fil-A. I was there today, right? Go to Chick-fil-A. You're going to spend $20 3 days a week. That's $3,120. Now, if you converted a really crappy rate of 5% on 156 lunches, that's 9 transactions. Well, that's $100,000 in the Metro Atlanta area that you just netted out of a $3,120 process. So you just netted $97,000 just by going to lunch every day and being relational. If you're having the lunch and you're talking, how are you doing? How's your family? What's going on? They're naturally going to say, well, what's going on with you? What are you doing these days? Well, I'm in real estate. Well, how's the market? We've actually, my cousins, brothers, sisters, aunts looking for a house. Oh, great. So those conversations will ultimately turn into transactions, but it's that opportunity that you got to get you there.
Sure. Okay, so retaining your agents, you obviously got to help them be successful. You got to retain them, right, to grow, because the best offense is a good defense, right? It's just like in football, the offense doesn't win the Super Bowls; it's the defense, right? So to grow, you need your agents to be successful. So retaining them is all about coaching them and keeping them engaged. Let's talk about kind of what you do there. Let's start with the coaching part. And then we can talk about how do you keep people kind of engaged. So tell me about your coaching program. And it's probably different for experienced versus new. So maybe distinguish how you kind of handle one versus the other.
We actually have two. So first and foremost, when it comes to retention, people are going to love you until they don't. Right? So usually something's going to happen. You've pissed them off. You didn't let them do what they wanted to do. So, you're going to naturally have people that want to leave. The lady who left recently or today, she didn't like something that we had said. So in her mindset, I'm going to take my ball and go somewhere else. You can never fix that. Sometimes you can't fix that. A couple of things that we do with retention wide is, number one, is I'm a huge fan of handwritten notes. So part of our onboarding, we're going to send you a handwritten note. We're so thankful to have you as part of the Heartland family. If we can do something, let us know. Like, people love getting handwritten notes. The other thing we do is every single Monday morning, we have what we call HREU, which is Heartland University. And so every Monday morning from 8 to 9, we're transactional brokerage. We're not taking 36% of your money or 20% of your money or whatever percentage. We're taking a flat fee, right? So our agents know this is your business. You got to run your business. We're here to help you. We're going to help you, but they know, don't call us with stupid stuff at 6 o'clock at night for things that are not broker issues about the house is burning down and we need call 911 first and then call me. But we have this thing called Heartland University every Monday morning from 8 to 9. It's a Zoom call and it's an open hour. How do I do this in the MLS? How do I do this? What is your opinion on open houses? How would you handle this situation? So our agents will get on there naturally just to see what other agents are calling in. It's almost like a radio show to the extent. They come in, they ask their question, and then they literally leave. But we have some agents that jump on there just to listen what those questions are, because it always helps them grow their business. So that was one of the cool things that happens. The second thing is every Monday morning we do from 9 to 9:30, we do Monday morning mingle. And myself and April are on that call. We, sometimes we're talking about, all right, these are the things that are happening this week. These are the classes we're teaching here this week. These are the things happening in the Realtor Board this week. We got some networking events on Thursday night. Make sure you don't miss that. Those are the types of things we talk about. We usually have one nugget throughout the week that an agent called in and said, hey, how do I do this? That we'll talk about on that Monday morning. And then it's just a really good way. It's 9 to 9:30. It's a really good way for us to start the week in a very positive light. Hey, let us know how we can help you this week. So that's another really good part. Sometimes we'll get in there and the whole thing is messed up. We had one agent that got engaged over the weekend. And so the whole 30 minutes for Monday morning mingle, our whole brokerage, and there's usually 35, 40, sometimes 50 people on these calls. Our whole brokerage for 30 minutes gave this girl marriage advice on how to have a successful marriage. Sometimes that gets derailed by things that happen over the weekend, that it's like, hey, we're here to help one another. That's part of that culture thing that we do. So
Sure.
we have Heartland University, we have a Monday morning mingle, and then the other thing we do is we do what we call Wise Chat, which is a group coaching session. We do it once a month on Thursdays, and every single Thursday is a different level. So what I know is if you're, Jim, an agent that's doing 100 transactions a year, your systems and techniques and processes are completely different than an agent that does 3 transactions a year. So we put you in Wise Chat groups 1 through 5 based on the number of transactions you've done in the last 20 to 12 months. So if you've done 0 to 5 transactions, you're in group 1. 6 to 10, you're in group 2. 11 to 21 or 25, you're in group 3. And we start growing it up. What we're seeing is those group Zoom calls, and it's a Zoom call. Those group Zoom calls will help one another because if you're really in this business and you're wanting to grow in the level that you're, everybody knows that group 1 is the agents who doesn't do a lot of transactions. So I want to at least get to group 2, right? Well, I want to go from group 4 to group 5. So I got to do the 70 transactions. So now we're starting to see those agents start getting competitive with one another, but they also are helping one another grow at the same level they're currently at. So Wise Chat seems to be working very well to get our agents motivated and give them the things, because those people in that very beginning are still trying to get their foundation, right? Most agents come in, they've spent $2,500 to get in the real estate industry, and then they just want to go out selling houses. They don't want to build those systems and foundations. And then what happens? 87% of them in 24 months are not even in the business because they didn't build those foundations. Wise Chat gives us that ability. Hey guys, have you been working on this? All right. Before we get on the call next month, we want you to give us this. And the ones that come in there, they really work hard and they really put the meat and potatoes together. Those are the ones that are growing in their Wise Chat categories versus those ones that aren't. And we know that they kind of get weeded out very quickly. So Wise Chat has been very helpful for us for the retention side of things. And then throughout the month, we'll do things. We do pizza and social. So we'll do a pizza day once a month at a local pizza. And we just tell them, hey, bring your laptops. We're going to, I'm a national RPR instructor for NAR. So I will say, bring your laptops. Today, we're going to be working on RPR. Today, we're going to be working on Canva. We do cocktails in Canva and say, hey, we're going to teach you how to build a listing flyer, an open house flyer. We're going to give you those pieces to the puzzle to help you be more successful. So really engaging in the agents. When you reinvest in those agents, it goes back to that culture part of them. All of our agents just absolutely love being here. So it's very contagious and they want other people to come with them.
Well, I can tell you, I wouldn't want to be in group 1 very long myself. It's like I like that Wise Chat. It's like a virtual leaderboard, that everybody wants to climb. Nobody wants to stay very long on level 1. I like that.
It really works well, and it doesn't take a lot of time for us because one of the things that we've leveraged too is other agents. So we may have somebody from group 2 help lead group 1 or group 4 lead group 3. Because now they're seeing, here's this person that's a little bit higher than me, and they're actually getting to be the leader of that particular group. And so that it makes it really easy for us to do.
Okay. And so how long does it take to know that you had a great hire? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 30 days? And what do you want to see to know that it was a great hire?
I think you see very quick. I've been doing this 18 years. I was a law enforcement officer, so I know how to read people. I think really and truly for a 6-week period you're gonna know whether they're gonna be. For me, like I can interview you in 30 minutes and tell you whether you're gonna last in this business or not because I've just been doing it for so long. But I think on the brokerage level, you really can see that first 6 weeks when the honeymoon's starting to fade. You're going to start seeing, did they do their new agent orientation? And so we do the learning management. We do the Teachable LMS for new agent orientation. Once a month, we host a new agent orientation in person. Did they do their online new agent? Did they come to new agent orientation? And when they come to the new agent orientation, we have a big box. We get them from Pack Lane, and and they're branded, and it's got a shirt in it, or it's got a Yeti cup that's got the Heartland swag on it. It gives them a little couple things that will help them with their business. So a lot of people, they want to come to that new agent orientation because they want that swag, and everybody kind of knows that's where you get their first swag here at Heartland. But did they do the things that they're supposed to do? Did they, one of the things I require of them is to do a business plan. And so did they turn that business plan in? Because those people who are really going to hone in on those things, that they're going to be successful. The other part to it is we're a transactional company, right? So we have X of dollars, X amount of monthly fees, which we don't make a lot of money off of. But if you are a person that's not doing a lot of transactions, but your monthly fees are going through and we can help grow you, one of the things that we do is I'll send a note card. Hey, I hadn't seen you in the office in a while. Is there anything I can do to help you with your business? So a lot of brokerages, they're not a strain on the brokerage because I'm not having to call them for their credit card number. I'm not really having to help them with their stuff. But my position on that and mine and April's is those people who aren't really producing, when they do get a transaction, they take a lot of bandwidth on the brokerage. So now we got to really help them get up to that minimum standard.
Sure. Okay, well, I think I covered a lot of my questions around the talent funnel. I guess my next big question is just more of a retrospective. Some of the people that are listening could be a little earlier in their career, whether they're an agent that wants to be a broker, or a broker that's just getting started but wants to scale. Theoretically, could just be somebody that's not even in the industry yet. So maybe just looking back, at your former self, knowing what you know now, what would have gotten you where you are faster? Like, what do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Oh, that's a tough question because I really feel like, I really feel like we've done things very systematic. Like in the state of Georgia, you have to, you only have to be active in your real estate career 3 of the last 5 years that you've been licensed. You can become a broker. So one of the things that really sets us apart is we were salespeople for a long time before we got in that broker seat because we didn't really just want to come take people's money. We really and truly, every single day I get up, how am I going to help somebody today? How am I going to change somebody's life today? So I think really and truly, one of the things is get as much education as possible. I have a ton of alphabet soup behind my name in the designations and certifications things. But at the end of the day, the most education you can get, we're always going to run into something. I've been doing this 18 years. I've managed probably tens of thousands of transactions as a broker at this point. So, there's not much I haven't seen in this business, but the more you educate yourself when those things happen, it's going to really help you be successful. The other part to it is I really and truly wish I'd have gotten involved in the realtor world a little bit sooner. I was a realtor for the first 10 years and never went to a realtor event. My broker said, hey, you're a realtor because that's how you get your forms in the state of Georgia. And I really wish I would have gotten involved a lot sooner in there because you're only as good as the 3 people you surround yourself with. Are those 3 people bringing you up or are they bringing you down? And so if I'd have gotten involved in the realtor board a lot sooner, I really feel like I could have changed kind of the trajectory that I've went. Because those people that go to those realtor events, those people that get involved, the majority of them are really high producing people and know how to time manage. They know how to deal with things. They know how to reach out. And now, for me, like I'm involved at the realtor board at a very high level and starting into the state level. So there's people all over the state that I can call upon now. If I've got a referral in South Georgia, I've got a referral in North Georgia, wherever I need to send somebody, I've gotten referral people because I've done that because I got involved. So if I had to change anything, I probably would have done that a lot sooner. I didn't go and start doing education. I didn't go and start getting involved. And if I would have changed anything, that would be probably the 2 things I did first.
Okay. Well, that covers my questions for today. I mean, where can our listeners find you online?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is connect with Nakia.com. You can get my email address. You can get my phone number. You can follow me on all the different social media channels. Connect with Nakia.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Nakia, for joining us today. That you brought some pearls of wisdom today that our listeners, I know that they can benefit from. So for the listeners out there, listen carefully because Nakia's been around the block and has some things you might want to kind of replicate in your business. So think about it and think about what you can apply going into the next couple weeks here to build up your talent funnel to really help your brokerage grow. Again, thank you so much, Nakia, and thanks to all our listeners, and have a great day.